Is Arbitrum the next Polygon? Optimism alts are surging. We're going to tell you which ones. And are NFTs securities? This is around the blockchain. All right, welcome. We're going to have a great episode today. Make sure you hit that like button. We're going to get right into it. On the top left, we have Crypto Keeper holding it down. Crypto Keeper, how's it feel to be back home finally?
Man, it feels good. It feels a lot colder, I got to say. The Brazilian beaches were a lot warmer for sure.
I bet. And hey, those West Coast people, they're feeling the freeze too. So make sure you hit that like button. I heard it warms you up. And speaking of warming me up, it is Cowboys of Crypto. Cowboys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, ready to see whether a bull or a bear is in, but I'm ready to lasso both.
I bet you are. And then we also have a blockchain Crusader. Any plans this weekend?
What's going on, man? Yeah, gonna be hitting those beaches at Miami down here, man. It's nice and warm.
All right. And then rounding it up, we have Crypto Lifer. He just bought a giant rock. Not that kind. That was a past life. No, we're talking about he got a nice little gym, and maybe he'll share some gym of some TA moves for you. Like I said, we're going to get right into it. Arbitrum growth has just been insane. And according to Blockworks, they just passed Ethereum's daily transaction count on the first time ever. And this happened on the 21st. So a couple days ago, when Arbitrum is a upcoming layer 2 competitor to the likes of Polygon, the likes of Optimism, the likes of Immutable X, for instance. And 39 days ago, it just got past. Ethereum L2s got passed, but that was Optimism and Arbitrum combined, and now Arbitrum surpassing it all on its own. So everybody's getting excited about this ecosystem, and they don't have a token yet, but they do have their total value locked, coming in at $1.92 billion. Now, Keeper, is this the hottest token that doesn't exist? Are you excited about the Arbitrum drop when it finally does happen?
I mean, I got to tell you, apparently I'm out of the loop, because as much as I'd love to sit here and spout off some really intelligent nonsense, I don't have it for you. I don't know a lot about this. I read the article a little bit ago when you guys sent it. Didn't know a ton about it. Haven't been paying attention to it. So I'd like to pass it on to somebody else that maybe has some better info, because I don't have it today.
All right, well, we're going to give you 2 points just for, generously giving the assist there. The Cowboys will give you the assist. How do you think they are so successful without a token yet?
Yeah, I would assume the same reasons why any layer 2 or any blockchain, any chain would be successful at the same time. Opportunity to farm, lots of hype, lots of incentives for developers, a good team building, a good community that they keep on investing in, a lot of different promises. But the thing is here, look, the real question is Arbitrum, you're asking the real question is Arbitrum or any of these L2s a good investment now? And I would say to you that if we went back into the cowboy time capsule, back 100 years to a big island, and someone named it New York, and a lovely real estate agent came up to you and said, hey, would you like to buy this street called Broadway or Park Avenue or Brooklyn or Wall Street? They gave you these options to buy. And you'd be sitting there, you'd be like, I don't know if I should buy this one or this one. I don't know, because one could be developed into a poor place and one could be developed in a rich place. I only have so much money. And here's what I would say to you and myself, that we are here so early, that crypto is the New York, that if we are looking at any one of these projects that have some kind of good stability, right? It doesn't take that much research to just see like, oh, okay, I could see some real legs behind this. And I think that is the case with Arbitrum, with any of these other L2s that we're going to be talking about today, or any one of these other blockchains or projects. But we're here so early, it doesn't take that much of investment. Of course, not financial advice, just fun advice in 35. But the simple answer is that it's all good. It's all good because we're so early. Now, if it goes down in the future or whatever, like maybe, but right now is the bear market. Now is the time to load up the bags. Like the future's not built with fear or timidity, or is that a word? Being timid, right? The future is built by people who say, okay, I believe this is the New York, and I believe we're here. And between you and me, I like it.
All right. And I think a lot of people are going to like it once this coin launches as well. Now, Blockchain Crusader, where do you think they're going to land once it finally hits? Top 10 might be a little bit of a stretch, but could you see top 20? Or is it, maybe just going to fight for top 100 here?
I think definitely safe bet will be a top 100 at first, right? And to what you asked about earlier about why it's so successful, I think it's because they're doing it right. A lot of times you see a coin come out with no utility, and then it just ends up being a pump and dump right on the price action, and then the builders come. They're doing it the opposite way. They're building first, right? Building up the utility so that there is hype with reason behind it, and getting obviously recognized by some big companies. And that is definitely going to be working into the price action. So top 100 would be a safe bet, but top 20, without a doubt, I think would be sooner than later, because if Coinbase and these other big chains or companies say are building on this chain with all the speculation that's happening, I definitely see a lot of price action coming. But at first you're always going to see the big rise, then you're going to see the dump of the price action, right? Because every time you get some free tokens or some free money, if they do any of those type of airdrops, free money, people always cash out pretty quickly.
Yeah, people like to get that free money. I think that's driving a lot of the speculation right now with the people interacting with the chain. But it doesn't really explain all the total value locked, at least initially. It comes in at number 4. Number 1, of course, is going to be Ethereum. Some would argue number 2 should be Cardano, but they don't really count total value locked when you stake within your wallet or within a stake pool there. So they have number 2 coming in at Tron, 5.2 billion. Number 3, Binance Smart Chain, and then number 4, we do have Arbitrum here. Now, Crypto Lifer, DeFi is really surging this tokens industry or this ecosystem. Do you participate in any DeFi protocols or DeFi platforms? And do you see DeFi being one of the catalysts for the next bull run?
Am I allowed to tell anybody? No, I'm just, thank you so much for having me on today. I greatly appreciate it. Love being, sharing the screen with you, Daisy, and all the awesome people on the show. When it comes to DeFi, I love DeFi. I backpedal when DeFi into the bear markets. You're not going to see me go heavy into DeFi, but I will eventually extend myself into the DeFi world. Right now, I'm just looking around. I still hold a fat DeFi portfolio of a bunch of different crazy coins, Haka, Tribe One, a bunch of different stuff. I still hold Cake, and I still stake Cake. Cake really, it was at 60 cents when the last bull run started, and the lowest it went to was like 380, 360. So it held the 6x from when I first got in. So there was really no reason to stop staking Cake. And so I'm still in Cake. I'm still speculating and watching. I like that Quick just pumped up. Quick just almost got basically a double up for Matic. Quick Swap got some love. Quick Swap's going to get love. When you hear of Ethereum pumping, Optimism pumping, look for those swaps that, support the chain. Once I knew Ethereum was getting up there and Matic was getting a bit of a pump, I started looking at Quick Swap. I like what's going on. Arbitrum. Another thing is Arbitrum has a connection that the guy in there, Ed Felton, he's Princeton, right? He was the deputy CTO of Obama, right? So not only is he in with the ins, he's probably not going to get harassed by the SEC, So you already kind of have a bit of a clearing for that too as well. So I think that puts Arbitrum pretty far ahead of a lot of the other packs.
All right. And speaking of getting ahead, we have Optimism getting ahead of the market right now, up almost 9%, surpassing $3. If we go to the all-time chart, I want to share this. Very close to that launch price. So now, hitting levels essentially not seen, except for this brief spike on the 4th, levels not seen since it launched all the way back in May of 22. And now a lot of people are quite happy with Coinbase and what they're doing over there. I'm going to hit a search. We're having a little issues with, Elon fixed Twitter again. What are you doing over there? But token is surging after Coinbase unveiled its layer 2 base is going to be using OP's technology. Base is what they're calling, not to be confused with the token base that is already out. I think that surged 180% off this news. Not affiliated with Optimism's base layer 2 with Coinbase here. And they're moving up. And Velo, now I said I was going to share some of these small caps. We're looking at some of these Optimism altcoins, essentially. Velo has gained, is more than doubled in the past 7 days. Velodrome, it's the 9th largest DEX by volume. They're about 2.5%. They have pumped Sonne, S-O-N-N-E token that's also part of the Optimism ecosystem. It's jumped 82%. Its 7-day total, 300%. Now, Crypto Lifer, I'm seeing all these Optimism pumps. Largely, maybe some people had inside knowledge, but the Coinbase announcement, huge interest in Optimism now. I'm getting reminded of the AI surge that happened, I guess about 60 days ago at this point, maybe 90. I'm not 100% sure. But after a week, huge gains. Everybody's looking at each other like, well, surely that was the top. AGIX, none of these, they're not going to pump anymore. Everything kept pumping for about a month and a half. Where do you see the optimism pump? Is this a very short-lived pump, or could this replicate the AI pump?
Well, what a great question for you and the viewers and for me. Well, the thing is, you're in price discovery, right? When you get to price disco, and what price disco, I like calling it price disco because why not disco discovery? You have this wick here on the left side. You know, once we entered, and remember, all you had really was this resistance at 236. It's funny, we started trading this. You know, I started trading the 2L 2 days ago. I really swear, show me the charts and I'll show you the news. The daily was oversold, the MACD was turning, and I love when I trade like a flag on the RSI, and the RSI had this flag on it. So there was a lot of, for me, I was like, hey, this could move. It was touching the 21-day moving average. This is the actual trade I put out. Enter was at about 256, and it boomed up only about 20%. Thing about optimism is it has a bigger market cap than a lot of these smaller cap. AGIX had a $500 million market cap now, and it went from about like 40 to 50 million, did it 10x, right? So AGIX was 4 cents. That was like the leader. Then you have VXV. I have a whole list of them that I'm looking at. I'm DCAing into them. I'm building a position of about 7 of these coins. I'm putting, certain amount of into each one of them. I believe they're going to surge again. Right now, they've come back down to their 618. So I think it's going to hit price discovery and get a bit of a boom. It's getting extended on the bigger time frames. The daily just probably might need to cool down a little bit. Maybe the 22-hour. I see it just flagging out. Really, all you want to see is that it hold above 275. It holds 275 and even $3 psychological support. It's my next target for optimism is about $5, and even though that's psychological, that actually is like the Elliott wave measured move. Even though I'm not big on Elliott wave, that's wave 1, that's wave 2. This would be your third wave to the upside. So I'm looking for optimism to make a move. This is a symmetrical triangle that broke up to the upside. That's a breakout, clean breakout. It just has to pass through this high and then use that as a support, so breakout here, bounce here, or breakout higher and bounce here. These two areas are going to be really good load up points, about 318 and 375 for that ride up to $5. Again, not financial advice, but it looks like the 3-day chart really wants to go too, and the 3-day chart could load up for you and give you that move once the daily resets. Yeah.
All right, maybe some of your trading channel participants in that Discord, maybe look at some of those altcoins and find that next leg up. Now, Cowboys of Crypto, I finally was able to pull up their Twitter here. We're excited to announce Build on Base. That sounds like a real-time strategy move. No, we're not talking about StarCraft 2 as much as I like it, but I want to showcase the views on this thing. The video had been seen over 500,000 times, and the tweet landed on 3 million different accounts there. Here you can see it's about a minute-long video. So Cowboys of Crypto, this seems quite bullish for optimism. Does this give you a little bit more bullishness when it comes to their regulatory approval, though? Do you think Coinbase saw if some T's were crossed and some I's were dotted before they chose? Or do you think they're going into the regulatory dark waters and don't know where they're going?
Let me just back up out of here first, okay? I have not optimism, I have pessimism or skepticism, okay? Skepticism is probably a better way because for me, I'm not like Lifer. I don't know about no Elliott waves. I can't trade the charts every day. I got a job. I got a family. Not that he doesn't, but that's just too big brain for me. I'm a lizard brain, okay? I need things so stupid simple so that I can win. That's what I need to enter in. I know my skill sets. I'm not Lifer. If you guys got that, he's got a great channel. But for me, I need to just take a look at the macro economic environment. I think that things might be coming down a little bit. I saw the PCE reports, the PPI, the ABC, XYZ reports, all these things. And what it's all telling me is that everything's overheated. Everything, all this stuff is more heated, more than what everyone expected. And the problem with that is when I start to, ape into these smaller coins like Optimism, they could be wrecked. I mean, this thing is up all the way right now, and close to its all-time highs, or if not at its all-time highs. So maybe it could leg up, but right now I'm DCing into Bitcoin. Now, let's get into regulation because that was your question. When they're partnering with Coinbase, the reason why is probably some kind of incentive, some kind of relationship that caused that to happen there. Maybe someone who previously worked over there. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. But one thing I do know is that there has been a little legwork done by Coinbase, but regulation is still yet to see like widespread. Like they are still, opaque. They're not transparent about their regulation. And we're going to see this for years to come. So I don't think Coinbase really, maybe they could get some legwork, maybe lay some ground for Optimism or anyone, these L2s or anyone who else want to partner with Coinbase, but not a lot. And my hopes aren't a lot. Right now, I want to be safe. I don't have the skills. I don't have the time to trade like that, to look at flags or MACDs or whatever. I just want to pile into something safe like Bitcoin. And like we all know, traditionally, Bitcoin has run up before the altcoins. When Bitcoin runs up, which I'm piling into now, then maybe I'll sell half a bag, run into these altcoins. That's my plan. If it's a good or a bad plan, I don't know. I'm just trying to find out the safest, easiest, lizard brain way to make money in crypto. And that's how I see it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hear MacD's. I'm thinking someone's offering me a hamburger from McDonald's. I don't know what's going on either, you know. And someone threw out the name Disco Lifer. I think that's a fantastic name. Maybe type in Disco Lifer if you like that. Hey, Crypto Lifer. Hey, you know, I think disco will come back. I don't know if John Travolta's going to lead the charge. Maybe you have to lead the charge. All right. Well, Crusader, you know, we mentioned some of these alts earlier, the Optimism alts. I have one more I didn't name, OPX Finance. They skyrocketed 140%. So there's a lot of gains with these small cap Optimism alts. Are you looking at any of those? And what would you recommend to someone trying to chase the YOLO?
Yeah, right now I'm not looking into any of those. I will be keeping an eye on them throughout this market until we shift fully into the bull market, right? And we see the massive pump of the big top altcoins. Then, like Cowboy was saying, right, take some profit from the big safe investments and then start pushing into these riskier investments on the altcoins. So right now I'm not involved in any of them. I think it's too risky right now for me because, like Cowboy said, I agree with him 100%, right? I do have a 9 to 5 job out of this. I do a bunch of other stuff going on. So I can't be trading the charts. I can't be taking profits all the time and looking at what's happening with the latest altcoin that's coming out and the latest crypto trend. So for me, that's too risky. That's just risk management on my portfolio. I'd rather go with a safer set of altcoins right now, that are top 10, top 20, and that I'm already familiar with. And I'm DCAing into those throughout this moment so that when the big pumps come in with these top coins, then I can take some profits into some of these more riskier assets. Not saying that they can't succeed and you can't make money, because clearly you can, right? But you got to know what you're doing. You got to know how much time you're dedicating to looking up these altcoins, doing some research, whether you're a trader or just a fundamental investor, a long-term holder or not. You have to, calculate that out for yourself and for your portfolio so that you know what works best for you. For me, that doesn't work, and I am just sitting on the sideline with these safer assets until the big pump comes in, and then I'll take some profits from those into these riskier assets, in my opinion.
All right. Well, good stuff there. Now, Keeper, you know, we kind of threw out some speculation on why Coinbase chose this particular L2 solution. Maybe there's a financial incentive, maybe some other stuff. Why do you think that they ended up choosing Optimism over all the other choices?
And you know what? I don't know why Optimism in particular. I will tell you that business, generally, you do business with someone that is going to make you money, that is going to be efficient, someone that, in this space, I'm going to assume that the government is kind of saying, hey, yeah, usher them into the space. The reality is, we've talked about it a lot. There's a lot of meetings. There's a lot of dinner parties that you and I aren't privy to. And at those meetings, at those dinner parties, there's a lot of information that gets exchanged. And some of that information is not for our ears. And so while regulation is in the background happening, I can't see Coinbase not being a part of that discussion, I guess is what I'm getting at. And so with them ushering in Optimism and saying, hey, come on in, let's take this next move forward. Let's move forward in this business. I don't see any reason other than them just trying to monopolize the space. I mean, Coinbase wants to be, if you look at the crypto space as a big pyramid, Coinbase wants to be at the top and then have and basically funnel. I guess look at it as a funnel. And Coinbase wants to be at the top and everything comes through Coinbase and then down from there. And so ultimately, I think that's what's happening here. They'll continue to grow. They'll continue to offer other services. They're going to continue to make money on anything and everything that comes through there. I think it's a business play, plain and simple. I don't know.
Quick follow-up. If they are the main onboarding ramp for retail, is that going to increase or decrease participation?
Is that going to increase or decrease participation? Well, I guess it depends on how it gets funneled out to the people. But Coinbase right now, if you ask anyone that's newer to crypto, hey, how are you getting your money onto the chain? A lot of people are going to tell you Coinbase, like that's their starting place. The crazy part is their fees are so freaking crazy high. I don't know if you've ever taken money off of an exchange like Coinbase, but it is absolutely
it is definitely
insane.
up there. Yeah, and I remember the first time trading, you see it, let's just say it's $5.48, execute by $5.62. You're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And then you refresh, you're like, it never hits that price target. You're like, did I create a wick and get bought up? All right, well, let's move on here and talk. Are emojis securities? What is going on here? We're talking about Dapper Labs. Of course, Dapper Labs had the NBA Top Shot moments. It was a really, really hot NFT at the time. This was before Bored Ape Yacht Club. Ron Artest missed the boat. He would have been the perfect person for NBA Top Shot moments. I'm very upset that Meta World Peace wasn't able to participate in those. But a New York judge has ruled that the class action lawsuit against Dapper Labs may continue, and they tried to put a stop to it. Judge said there is enough there to determine whether or not there is a security here. Saying there are some elements of the Howey test that might be applied here or might be applicable here. Now, Keeper, did you collect cards back in the day? You seem like you collect baseball cards. Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What is the difference here? Is there a difference in your mind? Because they say, hey, you're buying this Top Shot, and then they're going to use it on the Flow blockchain. They're going to receive, and it's going to monetize the Flow token, and then they're going to build out. And so you're assuming your Top Shot will then be worth more money. They're working off your action. Is it any different than I bought the latest set of Upper Deck cards, and this will monetize their company, and they're probably more likely to have cards next year and keep the company running? Is there a difference here?
I really don't think that there is, and I'll tell you why. The majority, if you ask card collectors back in the day why they collected baseball cards, for example, baseball, basketball, football, whatever cards they were, they would tell you two things. One, they would tell you these are going to be worth a lot of money someday. That'd be one thing that they would tell you. And then the other thing they would tell you is, I freaking love baseball or basketball or football or whatever it is. And so in this instance, especially because it's with sports, I don't see how they're going to distinguish between someone that says, hey, listen, I freaking love basketball. I love baseball. I love sports, and I want to be involved, and I want to have these moments in a digital format. And ultimately, that's what's being offered here, a digital format of an event of something that happened within a sport. Now, if I make money down the road or have the opportunity to make money down the road because of it, cool. But also, if you ask those same collectors, hey, when are you actually going to sell that card? A lot of those collectors have a really hard time letting go of them down the road because they have this let's put it this way. I have a ton of baseball cards still, and they're worth some money for sure, and I just don't really want to let go of them. It's nostalgia. It's something that I remember from when I was younger, and so I just think that they're going to have a hard time differentiating between someone who just is a collector, loves doing something, and someone who's just in it for the money, and that's it. And no, I don't really see a difference, although I know they're going to argue and do their attorney thing and make sure that it's nice and garbled up so that they can, continue to take money out of everyone else's pocket as they press forward through the ripping through the crypto space.
All right. Well, there's also a big development out of this case. Cowboys of Crypto, I'm kind of looking forward to your response here. The judge deemed emojis as a financial return on an investment. The emojis they named rocket ship, the stock chart going up, and the money bag. Should those three emojis be considered free speech, or is there a message there saying, hey, expect profits?
I interpret this as a declaration of war. We will not be blackmailed by some ineffectual, privileged, small, effete, soft debutante. You want a street fight with the crypto community? You got one, but be careful of how ugly it gets. Here's the fact, right?
You're the Lizard King.
Yes, I am the Lizard King. And so is everyone in the crypto community, okay? Here's what we're really talking about right now. We're talking about regulation, okay? And I'd like to take us back into the history books, into the annals of history, especially with regulating traffic security laws. Model T car was brought out for mass adoption in 1908. And I got a whole point to this, and this is important. The early 1910s, there was no regulation. So people were drunk driving, people were speeding, reckless driving, people were getting killed. Early 1920s, over a decade later, National Safety Security Council started compiling these statistics and started presenting, okay, these are what should be laws. And then the traffic light was invented in 1923. early in 1930s, they improved roads. They had driver's license. 1950s, they started doing crash safety tests in universities, and manufacturers started using them as you know, a roadmap on how to develop safer cars. 1998, airbags first became required, and it's 2023 right now, and we're still making new laws in regarding driving. And here's my point. My point is simple. We are in for 100 years of regulation in the crypto space. Some would argue that this started with maybe the gold standard being removed, but this is regulation in crypto, or a bigger in a bigger space, regulation of money. And this is just how it's going to go. Now, for this particular instance, there's a number of factors that have to be considered, right? Is it a private blockchain or a public blockchain? They promise a profit. They use emojis, you know, improperly. But more importantly, who's the judge, right? That is a factor in this case. How much control does Flow have, and what do the secondary markets have to say in something like this? So any one of those nuances, any one of those data points can be changed, and another judge can rule in a different way. And there's got to be this battle, and that's why it takes so long. So for the crypto community and for the amazing, intelligent developers out there who are developing and working so hard, like, this is just a shot in the gut, but we have to be prepared for the long run. Okay, this is just a motion to dismiss, right? It's not a big deal, and it's very rare that, you know, they would rule against that kind of stuff. But the thing is that there are so many different nuances about this case that it will go on and exceed for generations to come, and we are just strapping into the start of regulation. So don't be dismayed by some like ridiculous ruling by some judge who wants to have a power play and make headlines. That's not what it's about. The crypto community has to stay strong through all this regulation BS, and we can expect this up and down. And we're going to see hypocritical decisions and judgments called on us all the time. And so the real winners are not going to cry about it. They're going to try to push through about it, and that's who we could stake our bags on.
All right. Well, thank you, Cowboys, for making me step off the ledge. I will not take a bath with the toaster tonight. I was this close. All right. Now, blockchain Crusader, what do you think happens to the NFT market if these are deemed securities? I mean, are we talking about a 90% drawdown, similar to a Bitcoin pullback? Is this just a little blip because they're degens and they don't care? Well, what are your thoughts?
So your question, to clarify, is the entire NFT space being affected from the top shot?
Yeah. What do you expect with OpenSea volume, the top blue chips floor price, you know, across the board?
I think to be honest, there's a lot of NFT projects out there, in the way that they've come out, right? Just like the ICO boom from 2017, a lot of them were probably securities, right? A lot of them probably are securities, and the promises of money. Right? I've seen a lot of NFT projects promoting their stuff with the promise of a lot of returns and making money, right? And everybody's going to the moon. And I see the problem with that, right? So I can see the government side of that. And I think the degens just don't care, man. The degens are going to say, hey, I don't care their securities. I'm here to make money, right? And that's the biggest problem as well with this space, is the government doesn't like you making money. They don't like you making money. That's straight up truth, right? If you're making money, they're looking at you. If you're poor, they don't give a crap about you. That's the two sides of the spectrum. So the problem with the crypto space, whether it's an NFT or Web3 or crypto, whatever, anywhere you're making money and you're not paying the piper, they want their cut. And that's the problem with these NFTs. But at the end of the day, could we see a drop? Maybe in the short term we could see a drop, right? But it's gonna bounce back. The degens do not care. They're not going to be coming after the individual people buying these NFTs, right? They're going to be coming after the companies that are promoting these things or making them. So they're the ones that are going to be in trouble, not the individuals. The individuals don't care. A lot of people in the Web3 space are massive degens, and they're just going to be looking for the next blue chip NFT. They're going to be looking for the next big drop, and they're going to keep buying NFTs. Volumes are going to continue going. You might even see the opposite. You might see some bad news, and then you might actually see some massive volume from the degens saying, hey, government, we don't care. We're going to buy more NFTs. And what are you going to do about it? We're going to blow up on the volume. And OpenSea is going to be like, bring it on, baby. Bring me all that volume. No headline is a bad headline. And NFTs, Web3, crypto is just going to keep growing no matter what.
Well, some us at the Vumio team are going to be keeping a close eye on for sure. Now, Crypto Lifer, two things. One, did you have the Ken Griffey rookie card? You know, did you collect cards? And two, is there an argument, could you make the argument, where emojis could be classified as speech? They are a relatively new phenomenon. I kind of know what certain emojis mean? I mean, is there an argument where you could hold up an emoji in court and say, clearly the defendant meant X, Y, or Z?
Well, I had to bring out Boston's favorite sports card, Bill Buckner. You know what I mean?
Okay, nice, nice.
The green screen takes this green dot out on there, but Bill Buckner, man, you know, if you know 86, he let the ball go through his legs, the Mets. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I've been going over this a lot too with Crypto Blood. And, you know, we had a few shows where we're talking about code. You know, is code freedom of speech, right? And where does it end? And where do they get to regulate our creativity, right? If I take a bunch of, like a collage, right? Some people have made Andy Warhol was famous off of taking a tomato soup can that we already knew that someone else created and changing it into a different color, taking a known picture of Marilyn Monroe and just adding a cartoon effect to it. So there's always been this artistic impression, right? If you see it through my lens and I change it slightly, is that my art? Where does it end? Where does it begin? I believe emojis are some type of Second Amendment, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to be remembered as a poop emoji, but, you know, I bet, you know, I was thinking the other day, I was in a cemetery and I was with my wife and I was thinking of NFTs and crypto. And I was looking at the price of Bitcoin and I said, you know what, babe? I said, cemeteries aren't going to be the same in 10, 20 years. You're going to be able to walk around and maybe the person, it would be like a lock thing, but you'll be able to press a button. And I believe there's going to be like an actual hologram of the person and they're going to walk and talk. And that's going to, you know, you're going to actually experience the likeness, maybe the voice, and actually see how tall they were, kind of what it was like to stand next to them. I think we're going to have a more interactive space as we go forward. So, I mean, there's so many regulations that are old and they don't make sense. And they don't fit to kind of how we're going to be creatively expressing ourselves. So, I mean, I don't think the current regulations and regulators and governments even know what's coming. Like, I believe we're going to live in a completely different reality 20 to 30 years from now. Yeah.
All right. And, you know, as an Atlanta native, or I live in Atlanta currently, we're seeing a lot of rulings happening where judges are using rappers' lyrics against them, you know, similar to this poop emoji, rocket emoji. Should a judge be allowed to use Crypto Lifer's previous raps against him?
I mean, it's such a good question. I mean, you say no because it's my art, right? But then there's also like the guy says he shot Jimmy and Jimmy did get shot. You know, it's kind of like it's like where
Friday,
do you draw the
10
line? You know what I mean?
You're like, hey, wait a minute.
You're getting real close with it. You know, it's like you're not supposed to put your crime. You know, you're not supposed to say what you did in the street in your rap music. You know, at the same time, it should be protected by artistic freedom. You know, if someone kills someone in a movie and they're an actor in the movie and then something happens in the street, like, oh, well, he was a killer in that movie, so he probably was a killer in real life, you know? So, and there's a lot of rappers that talk about guns and shooting and they never, you know, they're like, I was just watching a documentary today about Ja Rule and how he was a Jehovah's Witness and he used to knock on everybody's door. But like they want him to make him look scary at Murder Inc. and they dressed him up to be all hood, you know? So there's also people saying things in the rap music and they're not even close to doing it. So, you know, 6ix9ine got kidnapped by his own
a good
crew,
point.
you know? Like,
Yeah. Well, good point bringing up the actors. I definitely do think Anthony Hopkins eats people, though. But that's besides the point.
You know,
All right.
Put the lotion on the.
It looks like Cowboys of Crypto. You ended up taking it home. It was a pretty close one. A lot of people got baseball cards back in the day. So I love seeing that. We got a lot of people. Hey, I was in the same stuff. Who remembers Beckett? Hit that like button if you ever opened a Beckett back in the day. But Cowboys of Crypto, maybe that was a memory unlocked for you as well. Feel free, leave us with some parting thoughts as we head into the weekend.
Blood alone moves the wheels of history. Have you ever asked yourselves in an hour of meditation, which everyone finds during the day, how long we've been striving for greatness? Not only the years we've been at war, the war of work, but from the moment as a child when we realized the world could be conquerors. In a never-ending fight, I say to you, and you understand it's a privilege to fight, we are warriors.
That's all we got. That's how we're going to end it. Excellent words. I was going to bring up the image. Couldn't get it in time. Until next time, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you follow everybody's channel. Very important. Let's shock the YouTube algorithm into sharing this video. Until Monday, Bit Squad. Easy out.